Welcome back to another live and amplified indie fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we have a very special guest joining us today. We have Mattie Taylor. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. How are you?
Doing really well. Excited to have you back on. First off, I wanted to thank you for joining us on our pancreatic cancer fundraiser back in November.
Of course.
I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
When we
Oh,
first started talking the end of January, uh,
yes.
I I really wanted to have you back on because I felt like we could dive in a little bit deeper on some stuff and have a good old conversation. So I'm excited to have that here.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So, you're for anybody that's just getting to meet you for the first time that maybe wasn't there for the fundraiser. You're currently based out of Tennessee. Are you born and raised in Tennessee, or where are you from originally?
I was born in Nashville, but raised in Portland, Tennessee. So, yeah, I've been around the area. We mainly go for doctor's appointments and just like important stuff. But, um, yeah, I feel like
Gotcha.
I'm far, but not too far from Nashville.
Fair enough. You're basically in the suburbs of Nashville. Like it's weird because I don't think Nashville's is a big city, don't get me wrong, but in the eyes of like Chicago or New York or something like where
Mm-hmm.
they would have suburbs like that, it's kind of hard to think of Nashville having its own suburbs.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but so growing up in and around Nashville, what was that like? Did you always know you wanted to be a musician, or was that something that just kind of, you know, came up a little bit later?
I think it definitely just, I was 9 or 8 when I started vocal competitions and vocal lessons with Renee Grant Williams. But it just kind of like came up, I guess. I don't really know if I just started like randomly singing and that happened, or I don't know. But my mom took me to a vocal coach, and then we started doing vocal competitions, and now we're here. So
Nice, nice, nice. Uh, when did you so you started with vocal competitions? When did you kind of start writing your own music?
it had to have been like when I was 13. It was
Okay.
definitely cool. Like I remember I used to write in like a little notebook, an Elsa notebook, when I was probably 12, and then when I got older in middle school, that's when I really started to write. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. And in this writing, who are you listening to as far as music? Like, who are some of your favorite musicians at that point?
I love Kelsey Ballerini. I've been to her concert, and I would say a few of her merch, few items of her merch. But I love Casey Musgraves too, and Carly Pierce. That's another.
Nice. And what is it about them that just kind of really sticks out to you?
I would definitely say Kelsey's songwriting. I love her songwriting. I feel like she just has a very unique way of expressing herself in her songs. Carly, I love her like performances. Like she's
Hmm.
so good. Like you can feel what she's feeling when she's singing on stage, and that's so cool. I would say about Casey Musgraves, her songwriting and just like the way she is and as an artist, she's just super, I would say like childish, but in a good way, if that makes sense.
Nope, it makes perfect sense. She's youthful, I guess is the best way to kind of word that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Um, no,
she's
that's cool.
awesome.
So, have you said you got to see Kelsey Ballerini perform live? Have you seen the other two perform
I
live?
I sing Carly at the Opry,
Okay,
but I'm not seeing Casey, I don't think, anywhere.
gotcha, gotcha. How's it? How was the Opry? I've been to the Opry, but I've never been in the Opry. Like the last time I went to Nashville, I didn't want to go down like Broadway and pay the exorbitant amount of money to go park. So we decided to go
Oh,
to the Opry, except we didn't know kind of what to expect. So we just kind of walked around and it was like, okay, yeah, we probably should have planned that one a little bit better.
So you've been in the Opry?
No, I've been like to the gift shop and like that little front area there.
Oh, but you haven't been to like a show.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, it's magical. You have to go.
Nice. Cool, cool, cool. They were doing like backstage tours or something, and I was
Yeah,
trying to figure out how to sign up for that, but yeah,
yeah.
that wasn't gonna
Like,
happen at that point.
I've toured the Ryman, but I really don't know how to do that with Opry.
Mm, gotcha, gotcha. Um, so being a young musician growing up in Nashville, were you were you always going to like shows and stuff at like at the venues around town, or was it more just working and focusing on like your vocal competitions and stuff?
Um, Definitely when I was younger, it was
Mhm.
just vocal competitions. But are you asking if like I go to venues now?
Well, I guess ultimately what I was asking was, um, growing up in and around Nashville, it feels like that would be a huge step up for
Hmm.
a musician because you're surrounded by so many musicians of different calibers, different levels of experience. I'm not going to say success, but different levels of experience. Did
Yeah.
you did you find the that you wanted to go to like more shows, or were you more worried or more focused on honing your own craft as a musician, as a singer, doing the vocal competitions?
Um, yeah, I would definitely say I wanted to go to more shows and see more artists and just kind of like see what they're doing. It's awesome to like learn from
Hmm.
other just by watching what they're doing.
Gotcha, gotcha. So with these vocal competitions, for the people that maybe aren't really familiar what that is, are they like, is it like something through school? Is it something outside of school? What would a vocal competition usually comprise of?
Um, it was I don't know if I was in school at this time. I was homeschooled for like a long time. So, mainly at fairs, if a fair would have a vocal competition, I would enter it and they used to make us have CDs. We'd have to burn a CD every time we would go to these things and yeah, I think it was just fairs and there was one at Puckett's, but I think that was to move on to the Williamson County Fair or Wilson. I can't remember
Mm,
which one.
fair, fair, fair. And was it was there a lot of people from like other counties coming in, or was it pretty much just like the same, or like people that you knew competing?
I never really knew the people
Okay,
who were I did make a lot of friends through it, so that's pretty cool.
gotcha.
That I
Cool.
talked to.
Gotcha. That's cool. That's it. I wasn't ever really involved in like stuff like or doing like singing competitions or through school or through outside extracurriculars with like county fairs and stuff like that. And so
Mhm.
that's always kind of an interesting topic of conversation. So are what were some of the like experiences you had during these singing competitions? Was it like you had, or I guess what was like the experience? Was it like auditioning and then perform you were like performing and then how does the kind of the competition work, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah. First step was to sign up online, or I don't think we ever had to like go down to somewhere
Hmm.
um that way, but we'd sign up online and of course my mom would sign up for me because I was 9 or 8. I can't remember which age I was, but and then we would just go down there on the day and there would be like 3, 4 judges down sitting in front of the stage and sometimes it'd be a little stage, sometimes it'd be a big stage and they would just judge you, you know. They'd give us a number when we got there, I think, and then we would go in our number order. And sometimes it took forever, but yeah, it
Gotcha.
was pretty
Good.
very. I think that's when I learned anxiety. What anxiety was. was. So that
Fair.
that really helped me, I feel like.
Cool, cool, cool. And it would you say it helped make you a better so were you, I guess, were you singing your originals or was this more like covers and stuff like this? Or
It was
did it
covered.
kind of depend? Okay. Do you
Yeah.
think this made you a better songwriter once you kind of started taking that a little, not more seriously, but you started exploring that more?
I don't know if it helped me in the songwriting region, but it definitely helped me with like performing and with nerves, getting over those to get the walk up on the stage. So I feel like it really helped with that.
Gotcha. Cool, cool, cool. So now are you still in school or have you graduated now, like now?
I graduated in 2022 from high
Okay.
school,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
I'm a junior. So like if I went to a normal school, I never went to a normal school, but like probably 4 years of my life. Um, but I graduated early as a junior.
Okay.
So it would have been
Got-
last year.
Gotcha. 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 Um, so now that you're out of school and like fully focusing on music, you it one thing I really like about your music is you seem to come off really authentic in a lot of the recordings and music you have out there. You know, I was listening to your Spotify on my way to work today, and I mean, I've listened to it pretty consistently because it's kind of my job. But one thing I picked up was I really enjoy how authentic you are with your songwriting.
Thank you.
Um, so
I
uh, what's that?
I really appreciate that. That's a really great compliment.
Yeah. It's true. You know, it's like I was listening. Oh, what's the name of the? I think it was like Strangers. Is that a little bit of an older one? I think that's what I was.
So that song was my first ever song,
Okay.
and it's not my song. Other people wrote
Oh,
it. Being my first song, I didn't want to go. Well, it's kind of a whole story, but
fair, fair.
it's not my song.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, but I was listening and like I mean, when we had you on in November, obviously the big song was Deserve Me. You had released the original version and then the acoustic version.
Mhm.
And obviously I'm very familiar with that song, but over the last like month or so, I've had the opportunity to really dive in deeper on your catalog and just everything across the board is absolutely amazing. And I just kind of want to know when you sit down to start working on a song, what's kind of your approach when you sit down to work on a song?
Um, Honestly, just writing down whatever
Mhm.
comes. I will go on YouTube. This is like something I do. I don't know if other people do this, but I go on YouTube. This is how it started. So
Okay.
it's just what I'm used to. I go on YouTube and I look up beats or like country, acoustic guitar, free, whatever,
Yeah.
and I listen to that and then I write to it. And then I will get on my guitar and I'll do my own thing. And maybe change up the melody or whatever. But whatever comes to me, I'll just write it down.
Fair. So you kind of use the beats or the instrumentals or whatever as kind of a jumping
Mhm.
off point.
Right. Yeah.
And is that giving you more of a sense of like a pacing or a vibe, or when you sit down to listen to a beat and start writing to it, what are you using the beat for? What does that help you do?
I think it helps me with like coming up with a melody.
Okay.
like the chords, whatever melody I come up with that, I feel like that is very helpful. Um, and also just like the vibe of the song
Hmm.
really helps me decide what the lyrics are going to be and
Okay.
what the theme and what the feel of the song is going to be. And
Gotcha.
then, yeah,
Gotcha. So it's like it's almost like inspiration for you. It gives you a solid idea of, okay, the beat is this. I like elements of it, or I like the flow or the like accent, just like whatever it is you're honing in on, and you're going to use that to kind of help you start the building out the skeleton. Is that kind of fair to say?
yeah,
Okay. Cool. And is that kind of how your writing style has always been, or is that something that you've started adopting recently?
that's how it's always been. That's
Mm.
how I started. I didn't know how to play guitar until I was started guitar lessons in 2021, I think, and I was like 15 or 16. I would say I was 16 or 15. No, I don't know. One
Mm.
of those ages.
Fair,
Um,
fair. Oh, yeah, it's YouTube has become the great equalizer right now. Like it's so wild what you can learn on YouTube. Like I'm reteaching myself how to cook on YouTube right now. It's absolutely basic. So,
yeah, you can
uh,
learn anything you want to on
yeah.
YouTube.
Yep. There's a lot of people that spent a lot of years going to a lot of lessons learning how to play guitar that are envious that you can jump right on YouTube and have a basic understanding of guitar without spending 1 cent.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
uh, what's that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, so now that we're in 2024, Deserve Me is out. It's been in rotation for a while. Where are you kind of at creatively right now? Are you writing, recording, releasing?
I'm definitely trying to schedule more co-writes and write with other people. I usually struggle with that because I started writing by myself and I've just kind of continued on that way. I mean, all of my songs that I've released, I've written by myself, except Strangers, but every other song I've written by myself, and I don't really know how to like co-write,
Hmm.
but learning.
Fair. What do you think the struggle is with co-writing? Is it just you don't know how to work within or you don't know how like the structure works, or what do you think the struggle is?
I guess the dynamic of agreeing and not disagreeing
Hmm.
on, or disagreeing and agreeing on the same word or
Hmm.
line, whatever, you know.
Fair. Fair. It's one of those things where you just I think you gotta when you sit down to co-write, you just gotta know the people
Hmm.
and
It
you
makes
know,
it simpler.
right? Yeah, 100%. It you can kind of go in mutually understanding like, okay, we know each other, so we kind of know what we're feeling. And then if you go in with the idea of like not planning what you're going to write about, but knowing like, okay, we're writing, Mattie has a song that she wants to get done. So we're going to write to that. And then anything else that happens, cool. But the main objective for this co-write is that song. So I think that's kind of
Yeah,
the thing that a lot of people tend to overlook is not setting a clear objective to a co-write.
right. Yeah, and knowing like the person, I have a friend that we've written probably 3 or 4 times, and I just feel like comfortable now that we've written that many times. It's easier to say no, I don't like that, or yes, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Fair. It's that comfortability factor does a lot of things. It allows you to become a lot more open, and then it also allows that authenticity to flow because you're in sync with what each other's wants to accomplish.
Right.
So, um, as you're kind of preparing for these co-writes, do you have any songs that you're like currently trying to figure out, or are you pretty much a blank slate and just trying to find the next creative juice?
Absolutely, absolutely to the first question. Yes, I have so many songs. It's ridiculous.
Fair.
In my, I will just whenever I think of an idea, I just put it down in my notes on my phone, and there's so many. It's ridiculous.
I, have you found that the ideas have been a lot more free flowing now that you're an aunt, that you're
I love to talk about this. I am an auntie. Isn't that crazy?
yes, it's actually, no, it's not crazy, but it's such a
No,
interesting situation to be in because I just became an uncle a year and a half ago myself, and
congratulations.
I don't know how to act around the kid because it's like obviously right now she's 1.5, so it's not that big of a deal. But when
Yeah.
she gets older, it's like, oh, I don't want to be the reason that they pick up bad habits.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely give off auntie vibes
Mm,
because they would definitely, if they got a bad habit, then it would be from me.
fair,
So,
fair.
but
I did see the photo that you put up on Instagram of you feeding. I was that your niece nephew? Is it a niece or a nephew?
nephew.
Nephew. Was that you
Hmm.
feeding your nephew in the I think backseat of a car maybe
Uh,
or
I don't think I was.
holding?
Yeah, I was just holding him. We were getting food at Don Miguel's at that place in Hendersonville. If you ever go to Hendersonville, go there.
Nice. I love Hendersonville. I drive through it all the time.
Really? Have you ever been to Don Miguel's?
No,
It's
I
awesome.
just yeah, I drive through every time. More of when I was living in Florida and I'd drive up to go visit friends in Illinois or go visit family. I'd go through Hendersonville, but I haven't gone through in a couple of years, so probably need to swing back through.
Yes.
So, um, so how's it feel to be an auntie or an aunt, however you want to define it?
It was crazy. Like, it was kind of surreal. When I seen him the first time, it was he had to be in the ICU for 4 days, or
Oh
no, it was
well.
2 days, 2 or 4 days. I
Hmm.
can't even remember. It was just like a blur. But whenever he got home, we went over there, and when I first held him, I cried because it was just like it was surreal, and it was like this is like he's related to me. It's
Hmm.
so yeah,
Yeah,
but
that is crazy. It's like your family just grew in a time where you thought like, okay, the family's kind of done growing, and then you realize like, oh, we're
there's
getting
a
to that point. Yeah,
there's a new one.
yeah. It's like, oh, I thought the family was done great. Oh, nope. There's these things called cousins and nieces and nephews, and oh
Right.
crap. Okay, so
Yeah. And he looks just like my brother.
nice.
It's yeah. It's
Yeah,
like little him.
that's funny. That's so funny. I love it. I love it so much. So with all this going on, how often are you playing shows right now? Are you playing pretty consistently, or where are you kind of at show wise?
Not playing as much as I would like to.
Hmm.
Definitely reached out to a lot of places, but I've definitely learned that you get more no's than you do yeses. And some places don't even have live music, so that's cool. But
Hmm.
I don't know, it's just not a busy time of the year right now. I'm
Gotcha.
looking to summer.
Cool. Are you finding it harder to get some bookings right now because you're still so young, or is that not quite as much of an issue as I think it is?
Um, I feel like in Nashville, it is.
Okay.
I've gotten a few writer rounds on the books, but um I feel like if I, try to sing in a bar or somewhere like that, they would be like, no.
Yeah.
No, not how. But no, not for like places around here, like locally. No, I wouldn't
Uh,
say.
Gotcha. And I feel like in a small town, it's probably not as big of a deal, whereas going into Chicago, it probably would be, or not Chicago, Nashville. Wow. I was I was thinking about something completely else there. I don't know. But going into a bigger city, it probably would be.
Y- Yeah. Because
So,
I used to sing in a pizza pub in my hometown, and it was like a bar, and it was just
mhm,
like right there, and I was singing like in the corner. So, and it wasn't a big deal because it was in my hometown, like nobody cared.
yeah. And nobody's gonna come in calling the cops because there's a girl singing. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a pizza parlor.
A
It's
little, yeah,
yeah.
it's not.
No, I was just kind of curious if you were felt like you were having a hard time booking gigs right now because you're still kind of at that weird age where you're old enough to
Mhm.
kind of be doing your own thing, but not quite old enough to be going into bars and whatnot. So
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, I feel like that maybe if I did try Nashville for sure. And maybe that's why. Maybe that is why and nobody's telling me.
Yeah,
You never know.
fair. Very fair. So as you kind of start getting more shows, are you looking at doing more solo stuff or are you hoping to make it like bigger band stuff? Like what's kind of the thought process when it comes to shows for you?
I definitely want to get a band together soon.
Hmm.
Been thinking on that for like months now. So I'm hoping that it can, come to life. Fingers crossed.
Nice. And it would just kind of be a band for you, or would you try and spin it into its own project?
Um, Good question. Uh, I feel like for right now, a band for me.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Gotcha.
maybe later on.
Okay. Because the interesting thing about bands is it kind of gives you this freedom to experiment with your sound, whereas if it was just you by yourself, you're kind of limited to what you can produce by yourself. Whereas a band, if you want to go full hardcore rock or something, it's like, okay, you can do that.
Yeah,
Whereas like you by yourself, you're kind of limited as to what you can recreate in a live environment. So it's always bands are always kind of an interesting thing. They come with their positives and negatives.
yeah, they do. Hmm.
So so as you approach the summer, are you hoping to get the next project out by the time the summer hits, or are you just kind of where you kind of at, like recording wise?
I haven't been in this studio this year, but
Hmm.
I do have that is already recorded, mastered, everything, and I do plan on releasing it this year. So I'm looking forward to that and maybe, some content stuff to go with it. So that would be cool. Maybe.
Nice, nice.
Well,
Uh,
peace. And
for sure, for sure. I do enjoy your Instagram, watching you do your not live acoustic, but your acoustic performance videos on Instagram. Did I lose
what
you?
I think you cut off a little bit.
Okay. I was saying, I one thing I really enjoy is watching your Instagram videos of you doing your acoustic performances, or you, just doing like live acoustic things.
Thank you.
Um, is that something that you started doing during the pandemic, or is that something a little bit more recent that you've been trying since you've been releasing music?
I would definitely say more recent.
Gotcha.
I I didn't like start playing guitar out until last year,
Mm,
2023. So that was kind of crazy. It's very new, but now it's normal and it's like second nature. It's crazy
nice.
how like at the time you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do that at all. But then you do it and it's easy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Did you when you first started playing guitar out, like, at shows or just playing guitar and singing at the same time, was that like, an adjustment that was hard to get over for you?
I would definitely say at first, I avoided playing guitar out because
Mhm.
I like took guitar lessons in 2021 and didn't start playing until last year. So I avoided it, but I was super scared to start. But once I got my recent newest guitar, I was like, I need to start playing this thing. And
Fair.
I did. So, and now it's normal. Like it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Nice, nice. That I mean, that's cool that you kind of just dove right into it and was like, you know what? I'm nervous, I'm scared, but I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna figure it out and make it work. So that's really cool.
I played it for the first time at a farmer's market too, so like nothing too crazy.
Nice. Farmers markets are actually really like I feel like a lot of people sleep on the idea of playing at farmers markets or going to farmers markets to hear music,
Mhm.
but those are actually like really cool vibes and like a good test to your musical ability because if you're like depending on where you're at in the market, if you can get people to stop what they're doing and listen to you for even 2 minutes or a minute, like then that has to be the highest praise because it's like, okay, this person was here for a reason and they
Yeah.
took a minute or 2 minutes and stopped just to pay attention to what I was doing.
Yeah, farmers markets are all I do. So, not all I do, but all I do in the summer. So, it's like those are my I'm very grateful for farmers markets because they got me started. They're keeping me going and I continue to play at them. So, I'm very
Nice.
grateful for the farmers market managers. They really took me in.
Nice, nice, nice. And it's a good way to meet the locals because the people that are going to the farmers markets are like the actual locals in town. So
Yeah, right. You meet so many I've met so many people through farmers markets. It's the coolest thing.
yeah, nice. It's one of my, I don't go as much as I'd like to, but it's one of those things that when I do go, it's like, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend a lot of money, but that I guess that kind of comes with the territory. So,
Yeah.
um, so outside of music, when you need time to kind of relax, chill, whatever it is, what are some of your hobbies? What are you doing outside of music?
So I do photography as well. It's
Nice.
called Mattie photography. I do like seniors, artists, musicians. I've been trying to get more into the artist and musician photography because that's you know, but I also like to read. I don't read as much as I'd like to be able to. I don't have as much time as I'd like to be able to read, but or the attention span. That's a problem.
Fair. Very fair. I uh I feel the same way about reading. Like I wish I'd read more, but after
Mhm.
10 minutes I'm just kind of like, yeah,
I
I'm
know.
good.
Yeah. It's the starting part for me. Like I can't just open a book. I like
Yep.
my Kindle better than I do physical books, but it's just the starting for me.
Yep. I've been writing a book over the last like 2 years and I can't sit down to actually read the book to like figure out where like if I need like because right now I haven't touched it in like a month and a half and I need to go back and like read the whole thing. And I'm just like, I really don't want to read this whole thing. Like it for I
Yeah.
that's just how bad it is.
Yeah. I mean, I
But
feel like today their attention span's just like gone down because we have so many things like TikTok.
yep, yep,
I'll,
I 100% agreed. I did want to touch on something because you were talking about how you like to do photography and stuff. Doing
Mhm.
the and making the idea of switching to like artists and musicians and trying to focus in a little bit more on that. That's a really good avenue to as you kind of get older and start wanting to go out on tour, or like whatever it is, like if you want to start going out on tour,
Mhm.
um going there and having that dual threat of like, if you have there's a musician that's looking for like an opener or whatever, but also can do photography, it's like that's a really cool in. So
I've thought of that too. Like that's a good way to open doors and to
you
cut. Uh-oh,
yep, we broke up a little bit there.
do you hear me?
I heard like one word of that. So
I've thought of that too. I I think like that would be such a cool way to connect with people and open doors for myself as a photographer and an artist.
yeah, yeah, it's a perfect way to go about it, because it just works, because especially on tour,
Hmm.
if you're traveling together, there's very limited room. So if you can have somebody that can do multiple different things,
Yep.
that's the way to do it. So um but I don't want to keep you here too much longer. Outside of music, obviously, we talked about the photography and reading and all that fun stuff. And hopefully, as the summer starts to approach, you'll start booking more shows. And I'm hoping to be out in Nashville. My dad stays up in Kentucky during the summers, up in like Eddyville and Paducah and that part of Kentucky. So I'm gonna be
Cool.
in the area. So if I see you have a show, I'm gonna try and swing by, because
I'd love
my
that. That'd be
yeah, for sure, for sure. My dad's been trying to get me to come out to Kentucky for the last year. It's like, okay, we'll make it happen. So,
gotta
uh,
go.
yep, absolutely. So if anybody wants to check out your music or any shows throughout the summer, anything at the farmers market, where's the best place to find you?
I have a website. It's MattieTaylorMusic.com. You just go on there, events. I got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Don't use it. TikTok, and all the things that you would probably think I would have
Sure.
everywhere.
What? Why don't you use your Twitter?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I feel like I like to post pictures more than I do words.
fair,
I feel like
fair.
nobody would care the words. I don't know. Maybe I'll start posting on there.
I don't
Just
know.
brain.
What I do like about Twitter is the ability to find new people seems to be really easy on Twitter. Like, as far as like, if you're looking for somebody to co-write, the ability to go find somebody that you've never written with before seems to be a little bit easier on Twitter.
I'll have to get on there.
Yeah, it's cool. That or Threads. Threads seem I haven't quite figured out the trick behind Threads yet, but I also don't post enough on there, so
Twitter, Threads, I see no difference.
fair.
I,
Fair, fair. I get you there. So, but I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. It's
yeah,
been an absolute blast, and hopefully this summer when I'm up in Kentucky and northern Tennessee in that area, hopefully I'll get to catch a show. Um, but in the meantime, thank you again for joining us. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you are listening to the or the recorded
oh, you're
episode, am I
okay.
breaking up?
Back
Okay.
now.
Um, if you're listening to the recorded episode, Maddie's links to her Spotify and website will be in the description. And other than that, once again, Maddie, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
I
Yeah,
had an awesome time talking with you.
yeah. I really enjoyed the conversation as well. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll
Mhm.
catch you all later.